Shalom, Mishkapa. Welcome back to Deďarim, which is Deuteronomy 28 deep dive. We're doing a slow and honest deep dive into what this chapter meant then, what it means now, and what modern Christianity has to do with it when they claim that Torah is done away with. Okay, so this is part 3. And in part 2, we saw the warning signs. So confusion begins, stability erodes. Now, Deďarim 28 is going to show us what happens when those warnings are ignored. So I wanted to focus on verse 28 here. Yahuwah shall strike you with madness and blindness and bewilderment of heart. Sorry, I lost my highlighter, so I wasn't able to highlight any of this part. But anyways, this verse is heavy, but it's very clear. Scripture connects spiritual rebellion with mental and emotional disorientation. Again, that doesn't mean that every struggle mentally is a curse. But it does mean that Scripture refuses to separate spiritual alignment from mental clarity. So when Yahuwah's instructions are rejected long term, confusion is not accidental. It is a result of losing moral and spiritual orientation. Have you ever, before you started on your Torah journey and you were just trying to figure out Scripture, how many times did you read the Bible and you're like, I have no idea what I just read? Or it doesn't make sense to me. Or I'm so confused by what I'm reading. Why do you think that was? Because I can tell you now that I follow Torah and I let Scripture define Scripture, I understand this Bible so much more. And I give all praises to Him. I prayed to Yahuwah and He blessed me with that. But it's a double-edged sword, man. It is a double-edged sword, because I would be lying if I told you that life before this was harder, because this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It was so much easier looking like the world, doing Christmas and Thanksgiving and birthdays and drinking on the weekends and doing all of these things, but I can't anymore. I cannot consciously do that now that I know what is right and wrong. Doesn't make it easy all the time though. Anyways, I went on a tangent. I apologize. You're my only friends. Wish I was lying. But I only have a couple friends in real life now because everybody abandoned me. But it's fine. Let's clean out house and get more friends who will accept me for being obedient to Yahuwah. Okay, so let's look at verse 29. And you shall be groping at noon as a blind man gropes in darkness, and not prosper in your ways. And you shall be only oppressed and plundered all the days with no one to save you. So this is describing life without direction. You're moving, but you ain't advancing anywhere. You're trying, but you're not thriving. That is why I always tell people, are you living or are you thriving? There's a difference. So there's effort, but there's not fruit. There's work, but there's no rest. There's motion, but there's no progress. I could keep going back and forth with that. But anyways, as we move through verses 27 through 30, and then through 34, the pattern becomes clearer. People are planting crops, but they're not enjoying the harvest. They are building houses, but they are not dwelling securely. They are working, but someone else is benefiting from it. Sound familiar? So this is reversal from what we read in part 1, the blessings. And then get this, as verses 35 through 44 continue, that reversal becomes systemic. So your health is declining, resources are draining, foreign systems rise over people. Foreign systems. Keep that in mind, thinking about today. So what should have been stability turned into dependency, and what should have been leadership turned into servitude. Again, now pause and just look around today. You see anything there? Any connections? We see people overwhelmed with anxiety and identity confusion. It is rampant. That is why my kids do not go to these crazy schools. They are homeschooled. We see systems profit from people's labor while leaving them exhausted. And what do they have to show for it? And we see constant striving with little peace. Scripture does not call this enlightenment, guys. This is not normal. This is called blindness. And again, let me reiterate, this is not about one bad season or one bad moment or one bad day. This is describing patterns over time. consistent rejection of Yahuwah's laws. So when obedience is rejected consistently, confusion deepens, oppression increases, and life moves further out of his alignment. And I'm not saying these things to condemn people. This is meant to wake people up, because this is literally what anybody sees, living in America at least. So part 3 of this Devarim 28 shows us that confusion and oppression don't just appear out of nowhere. In the final part, which is going to be part 4, we'll see why Scripture calls these things signs and what question they force us to answer today. Stay tuned.